According to the Great Schools Partnership, the term achievement gap refers to any significant and persistent disparity in academic performance or education attainment between different groups of students. There have been many causes identified that contribute to the achievement gap. Reduced access to educational opportunities due to lower quality schools, less materials, and inexperienced teachers is one of the major causes. According to Anion, public schools make available different types of educational experiences and curriculum knowledge to students in different social classes. Tracking or ability tracking is another major cause. According to Burris and Wellner, tracking denies opportunities, which results in low achievement. Cultural misunderstandings are another major cause of the achievement gap. According to Jordan, many problems arise from misunderstandings between teachers and minority students or among students from different backgrounds. Though I have seen the achievement gap in these causes play out in my own community, the one that had the greatest effect on me personally was tracking. My little brother was adopted from Guatemala. When he was in kindergarten, he struggled academically. He was almost immediately tracked into easier classes with low expectations. This has continued through middle school and now in high school. He knows that he is in easier classes compared to his peers and frequently chooses to not complete assignments or study for tests because it is what is expected of him. He tried to advance out of these classes when he reached high school. However, he was unsuccessful and unprepared and therefore wasn't permitted to rejoin his peers in the higher track classes. He personally feels inadequate at school and doesn't have a strong drive to go to college. Though I think closing the achievement gap will require many different solutions working together, a solution I would like to explore is detracking schools. I was moved by the article Closing the Achievement Gap by Detracking and found their experience to be exemplary. I believe Burris and Wellner when they said that by dismantling tracking and providing the high-track curriculum to all, we can succeed in closing the achievement gap on important measures of learning. According to Montgomery County Education Forum, throughout much of American history, children of various ethnic and racial minorities, as well as children from lower socioeconomic classes, have been schooled separately, thus effectively limiting educational opportunity and stunting academic growth for these students. Low-track classes should be slowly eliminated from all grades in our public school system, starting at the lower grades and moving upwards towards high school courses. During this process, educators should follow the counsel by Burris and Wellner and, quote, ease the transition by offering students instructional support classes and carefully monitoring the progress of struggling students, unquote. These classes can be supplemental courses during the day if the schedule permits, or after-school workshops a few times a week if not. These support classes should be, according to Burris and Wellner, linked to the curriculum and allow teachers to pre- and post-teach topics to students needing additional reinforcement. By detracking schools, individuals like my brother will have more opportunities to learn and achieve academic success. There will be no more limited places on students. In order to see this solution come to fruition, we need exceptional and qualified teachers. Many students will need additional time with the teacher to catch up and grasp understanding. Class sizes for these detracking courses should be smaller in order to allow students sufficient time with the instructor. The solution requires teachers who would be willing to hold extra classes for struggling students. They will need access to the school and a room if the classes take place after school hours. Though there has been great results shown from detracking schools, some educators do not feel like they are prepared to teach a heterogeneous classroom and therefore are hesitant to support the transition, while school districts and state officials worry about the potential cost increase. Finally, according to Burris and Wellner, parents of high achievers fear that detracking and heterogeneous grouping will result in a watered-down curriculum and lowered learning standards for their children. I hope that as counties and states start to detrack their schools, they see a narrowing in the gap. I hope to see more students, specifically minorities and low-income students, reaching grade-level standards and college-ready by the time they graduate from high school. As I mentioned before, tracking is something that has personally affected my family. According to Montgomery County Education Forum, in elementary schools, research shows that the gap between students in lower ability groupings and those in higher ability groupings grows larger from the beginning of the school year to the end. This information is startling, especially since I want to work with young children. Educators in schools should provide students with the best education possible for each student. Examples from the course readings and research I have done personally has shown incredible results as schools have decided to detrack and offer all of their students high-quality curriculum.